Hi guys, welcome to our webinar. Livestorm and Front, we've teamed up to talk about how to deliver personalized communication at scale. And my name's Molly, I'm the content manager at Livestorm, and I'll be hosting the webinar today. So I just want to go ahead and introduce, our agenda. We're going to be talking about the introduction, so, kind of explaining the situation right now. And then moving into, COVID-19 has created a lot of new challenges for customer relationship management and also for our personal lives. So we kind of wanted to make this webinar to talk about not only how our teams are addressing the crisis for our outward-facing communication with customers, but also how we've kind of managed to mitigate some of the changes on within our own companies. So we'll bring you some tips to deliver personalized communication with customers, some tools and tricks to deliver large-scale personalized communication, and then finally, we'll talk about some examples from Livestorm in Front and finish with a question and answer section. And also, just so you know, we do have a question tab and a chat tab on the sidebar of your webinar. And you can also find a poll tab where we'll be publishing some polls throughout the webinar. And we've already published one right now. So if you want to answer it, we'd love to hear your feedback and kind of get a taste for what the situation is for you guys too. So I'll go ahead and let our presenters introduce themselves. We have Elif Corral and Arthur Laflemme. Elif, maybe you can say a little bit about Livestorm and your role.
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much for the introduction, Molly. So, hi everyone. My name is Elif. So I'm the head of customer experience here at Livestorm. Just Livestorm in a quick introduction. We are a browser-based video communication suite for your business. We help you manage your online events from A to Z by offering a modern streaming technology, landing pages, emailing automations, and powerful analytics to push in and out of Livestorm.
Great, thanks. Arthur, maybe you can say a couple words about Front and your role.
Of course, thanks, Molly. So I'm Arthur. I used to have a big bird, as you can see on this picture, but most of all, I'm onboarding manager at Front. So I'm responsible for the rollout of all our biggest projects in EMEA. And to introduce quickly Front, in a nutshell, I would say that Front is the inbox designed for team, in which you can bring all the teammates, messages, and application you need to get work done.
Great. Thanks so much for joining us, guys, and especially Arthur. We're really happy to be doing this with you.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
And so I'll just kind of lay the lay of the land. As everyone knows, COVID-19, it's prevented a lot of struggles for companies and also for teams on a personal level. So some of these challenges are impacting customer relationship and the way that we can manage those customer relationships. First of all, there are changes in activity. A lot of teams have seen really sharp spikes within the past few weeks of how many people need support and how many more people are kind of looking for those connections. And this is kind of due in part that entire teams are working remote for the first time. So there's additional levels of complications. If people aren't in the office, they can't just ask the person next to them for some help with what they're doing and et cetera. And so this leads to a higher risk of churn, both of these factors. And so we kind of put this together to talk about how to deliver exceptional customer communication in a time where there's so many challenges and unforeseen things impacting our businesses. So maybe I'll hand it over to you, Elif, and you can talk about how we've addressed the situation at Livestorm a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, definitely, Molly. So at Livestorm, we've been a remote friendly company since the beginning. So, we have close to a half of our company who has been working full-time remotely. And so we had a couple of structures that we had in place before for our remote employees. So when, this crisis with COVID hit us, it wasn't too much of a radical change for us. But having said that, we did have to implement even more changes to make sure that, everyone has the same level of knowledge, everyone can keep track of each other's projects, and, just make it easier for our teammates who are not very used to working remotely or who are working remotely first time. So a couple of the stuff that we have implemented, we hold all our meetings, so company meetings, team meetings, in a webinar format. So this, just makes sure that everyone's on the same level of knowledge. And if you cannot attend the webinar, you can always get the recording to, watch the replay later on. Then we heavily rely on Slack. So, our teams, they share their daily stand-ups to make sure that everyone is aware of, the tasks that are being tackled, just to, keep the collaboration and the level of knowledge up to speed. This is kind of like the work side of things, the professional side. We also, pay now more attention to the social aspect of working remotely. So, with our office manager and, our management, we have implemented, online games throughout the company that you can just jump on. We also do like end of the week Friday parties where everyone just touches base with everyone else to, keep them updated with each other. And it just really helps with the social aspect and, just staying in touch. And yeah, so that's pretty much how it's going at Livestorm. Arthur, maybe I'll leave it to you. How's it going on at Front?
I'm glad you asked, Elif. I would say that at Front, it's the same, I guess, for everyone, but we are focusing on two main topics. The first one is kind of keeping team connected with everyone, motivated, focused, and accountable. So I would say that daily stand-ups are definitely a key initiative that we have. Everyone can connect with other teams, just present an initiative, a project has been working on during the week, an achievement, anything is proud about. Also, synchronous updates in Front that is really more related to the product in itself. You will see it later in the presentation. We have comments, shared draft. We have so many ways to keep connected with your team, even in these remote times with Front. And yeah, on the other side of things, I would say that everyone loves sports at Front. So e-planks are some fun initiatives we have every day, like a planking challenge in video conferencing. Board games, everyone loves board games. We have a really strong culture around that. So we play board games in virtual. And we also created a magic window that you can connect to when you feel alone at home. You can just connect, open the link, and you might see some friendly faces of your team.
Those e-planks sound really great. Maybe we should also
let's
try
launch
those.
a contest. Yes, we have top performers here. So
thanks. Yeah, we'll have to add the e-planks to the mix at Livestorm. And so that's really interesting, guys. I'm curious to know what kind of strategies you've developed to address the situation within Livestorm and Front during this time. Maybe Elif, you can kind of explain some things we've done at Livestorm.
Definitely. So again, I think we can really during these times we can really base our overall customer strategy on three main pillars. First and foremost, monitoring our NPS score and keeping that score stable. At Livestorm, we use NPS, but it doesn't, for each company is different. So, you might be using another score to measure your happiness. So it doesn't have to be just NPS there. But it's really important to keep track of this because to watch out for any fluctuations, to have maybe unhappy customers that can potentially churn. So you would definitely want to avoid these. As the COVID situation might introduce some more work to your teams here, maybe automating the the process of your reach outs or feedback collection can really help you with that and remove a certain workload from your team who might be under heavy load. Then the second thing that we've really implemented is to have a more data-driven approach. At Livestorm, we have experienced close to 7 times more of conversation volume than normal times. So it's really important to analyze your customer communications and the volume that you get. Why do customers contact you? Like, is there anything missing on your product? Is it a feature that's missing, or are you having reliability issues? Is it due to lack of knowledge? Is your knowledge base up to speed? It can also, help you understand what your current team's capacity is and what are they able to achieve today. And that it can really give you more implications on to scale that volume that you get. You can maybe forecast for more hiring. You can rethink your customer communications channels like phone, email, and chat, or just improve your overall self-serve strategy. At the end of the day, this is a unique period. It's really, I really encourage everyone to test and experiment new systems to find what really works best for your business. And last but not least, cross-team collaboration. I think, personally, I think a crisis should not just apply to one team in particular, like customer support, our customer success team. It should apply to the whole company. At the end of the day, we are, as a company, in it all together. For example, concretely on Livestorm, we work closely with the product team to define main features to build into our product, to tackle that volume that we get. We work with the marketing team to better incorporate our content, our help content, to our email onboardings. And we also hold regular support sessions across our company with people who are not in customer success or support to just, improve our communications and make sure that everyone's accountable for our customers' happiness. So that's kind of the 3 points that I can sum up. I'll just leave it to you, Arthur. Maybe you can tell more about Front.
Yeah, thanks, Elif. I would say at Front, like during these times, the thing we want to focus on from a customer success perspective is mostly account coverage first. It seems really basic, but one of our key objectives is to be in touch with 100% of the key decision makers until end of the quarter. So basically, we want to talk to our customers more than ever because we think this is a unique occasion to kind of create a really strong relationship, show empathy, but also keep track of what's happening on our customer side. Is there a churn risk? Is there anything that we would need to know to kind of adapt, offer more flexibility on payment terms, on everything like that could help our customer during these times? We want to know these things. We want to know for many reasons, obviously, but yeah, forecasting, empathy, all these things can only be achieved talking with your customers, and Front help you to scale this communication, but keep this personal touch. We will get back to that later. The second thing is activated customers. This is more like an onboarding KPIs, but onboarding at Front is 90 days. So I'm responsible to launch in 90 days, but we all look at this kind of aha moments, in software industry where that your customer is happy and sticky with your product. And for us, an activated customer is someone that connects 10 days in a row to Front. So we monitor highly the adoption, and we want to take proactive action if these KPIs are not reached to understand what is happening. Is there a missing feature? Maybe maybe a customer has partial unemployment in his company, and we are not aware of that. So the adoption is kind of going down. So we want to keep track of that. And finally, NPS score. It's kind of a classic, but more than ever, we want to keep on top of that, knowing who is happy, who is unhappy, and really have this really reactive approach on our customer needs and demand during these times.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, and as you both were talking about, being reactive, making sure that customers are being listened to, kind of runs into some tips that we've put together to make sure that you're keeping good customer relationships in a time of crisis. And so just to kind of give a summary, reaching out to your customers, making sure that they know that there is a line of communication. Sometimes maybe they won't go to the effort to ask, even if they're having struggles. So making sure that door is open and that they know that you're available. And then identifying patterns of challenges to address one-to-many communication. So kind of figuring out how you can scale your conversations and still keep an authentic and empathetic relationship. And then identifying and prioritizing red flag customers. So that's kind of just like Arthur was talking about, making sure that when people are struggling and that you're being proactive and making sure to limit those struggles, and keeping the team organized on top of everything, which involves having really good communication level and making sure that you can adapt to any changes that will come. And just kind of to run into some tools and tricks. Arthur and Elif, I think you guys probably have a couple tools and tricks. I'll ask you, Elif, what does Livestorm kind of do to make sure we have good customer relationships?
Yeah, definitely. I think coming back to really adapting the communication lever, as you put it, Molly, that's pretty interesting, and that's what we've been trying to achieve at Livestorm. So ever since the beginning of the COVID crisis, we have actually increased the number of webinars that we present to our whole customer or our whole user base. For example, we have launched French webinars in addition to our English webinars to kind of target that high volume that we've been getting from our French-speaking customer base. We used to have product demos for just everyone, like our prospects and customers likewise. We actually went through a separation there, kept the product demos for our prospects, and kicked off a new training webinar series for our premium customers, our paying customers. Coming back to it, it's really linked to what I've previously mentioned. Again, through analyzing your conversations and defining the pain points that your customers are facing, you can really come up with your webinar format pretty easily. Just picking up the commonly asked questions or commonly the common confusions that your customers have been having, and really base your webinar format on that. Obviously, having a clear, defined outline of what you'll be covering during your webinar, that's very important, and what your attendees should be expecting. It's also very important to kind of keep the engagement going with your attendees. Of course, it's nice to have a presentation, but it's always nice to use, for example, the Q&A or, publish any polls to kind of grab the tension of the expectations of your audience. And for example, actually using polls or, depending on your Q&A, it can really give you ideas to, for example, take your webinar program further, to create even more webinars to address those issues. And just really, defining your success criteria, really, what are you expecting to achieve with your webinars or your communications. Again, feel free to analyze the outcome, experiment, and improve as necessary. And one thing we really found interesting and useful in our case is whenever we hold a webinar, we can actually use the replay as on-demand content and incorporate it into our own, onboarding emails to just, reuse that content on a continued basis. So that's kind of the tips and tricks I can tell on my end. I'm sure Arthur, you'll be happy to share what's going on at your...
Yeah, thanks, Elif. So I would say that specifically during this time, you really don't want to miss any communication coming from your customer. And more than ever, you want to kind of centralize all your customer information. So traditional emails such as Gmail or Microsoft doesn't provide that. I would say, like, it's traditional email isn't collaborative. Like, it's really hard to collaborate with your teammates. It lacks accountability. You don't know who is doing what. Basically, there's a risk of duplicated answers. Like, sometimes it's really difficult, and it doesn't connect with other apps. So you cannot bring additional context into your email thread, for instance. With Front, you can do that, and this is critical during these times. First of all, you can bring every customer conversation into one single place. So as you can see on the screenshot, it means that you can bring your individual inbox, but also team inboxes such as distribution lists, shared mailbox, but also WhatsApp, social media, live chat from your website. This way, you can really monitor everything from one single place and have a consolidated view of your customer information. You can even like connect apps such as CRMs, project management tools, NPS systems. So you can really leverage that to provide context and power up, I would say, your customer conversations. And finally, you can also design tailored workflows. Basically, if you are a customer success team with tiered inboxes, you have, I would say, low touch, high touch. You can really create different inboxes so the team can collaborate from the same place and there's no messages falling into the cracks. You can also have account-based inboxes or just keep one-to-one communication. But with all these use cases, you can collaborate using our collaboration features, and you can also scale your processes with automation, automated rules. Just a quick example, you can have an email arriving in the customer success at shared inbox and then being assigned to the customer success manager related to this account based on the sales CRM data, like who is owner in Salesforce, the email gets directly to this person. Yeah, I would say that it was my tools and tricks.
And Elif, maybe you have a little bit to add on personal onboarding for new accounts. I know you have a lot of experience with that.
Yeah, sure, definitely. So I think, I kind of covered, like scaling, webinars are great for scaling, for like addressing big groups of people at the same time to kind of address those issues or the pain points that, you have identified within your customer base. But we also have a personal onboarding program. I think at the end of the day, it really comes down to the customer segmentation that you define within your company and what kind of service that you'll be offering for each tier of customers. So coming to us, we have our webinars for scale, for our self-serve customers. For our enterprise customers, we kind of keep it a bit more personal with, one-on-one video meetings for what we call enterprise customers. Having said that, I did mention at the beginning, how we tackle the bigger volume that we get during this period. But it doesn't certainly mean that it will be the same thing for, every business out there. So, if this situation, this period causes you less business or even slower growth, I think it's really important to focus on your existing customer base, to really, see what you can really improve on with your current customer base. Make sure that, what can you do better? So you can really like ask for regular feedback from your customers. Again, automation is a very important factor here. Automate as much as you can to, keep manual to a minimum and to just like burden, remove some of the burden that your teams might be facing. Making sure like that your customers, like existing customers, are they onboarded efficiently? Do they need any additional training? They maybe more content while they get started with your platform. Just, happy are they, overall? Are they actually, facing difficulties caused by COVID-19 as well? So it's also important to think about if they're also, experiencing some difficulties. How can you, as your platform, help them overcome, these challenges, and reiterate on the added value that you offer them? So it's also really important, I think, not to just think on your scope, but just really empathize with your customers as well, and try to identify again the obstacles that they might be facing due to COVID-19. So that's kind of my take on just the onboarding aspect, and taking care of your current customer database. As always, Arthur, maybe you have anything to add here?
Yeah, sure. I can definitely here focus on product features that we can provide to kind of scale this personalized communication with your customers. The first one is can responses. So I don't know if you can see the screenshots here, but it's basically email templates. But email templates that you can customize very quickly, because there are dynamic fields in it that can detect the name of the person, company, like anything you need. It will help for many use cases. For instance, handovers from the sales team to the CS team, just to kind of standardize and have an aligned approach with everyone. Product feature requests, bugs, any questions that you need to send replies over and over, and you can save time to kind of store and save these templates, but keep this personalized touch anyway if you need. The second one would be the calendar integration that we provide with Google Calendar, or even like Microsoft Office Calendar. So you can synchronize your calendar into Front, but that's not all. You can use the calendar links to schedule your meetings with your customers. We all know that planning a meeting is always complicated. There's a lot of back and forth, a lot of frictions with that. Thanks to this feature, you can just insert some meeting times in your email, and your contacts are just click on it, and it will create a meeting in both agendas. And finally, the snooze and read receipts. As a customer success member, I love this feature. Snooze is basically reminders applied to your outbound messages. We all have some unresponsive customer. We know sometimes that it's difficult to reach out to them, but you don't want to forget to follow up. With that, you can, as you can see in the screenshot, select a time where you want this conversation to kind of pop back again into your inbox if you didn't get any reply. So you send it out basically like a boomerang. If you doesn't get a reply, it's going back in your inbox, and during these times, it's really good kind of to keep track of conversations.
Thanks, guys. That's really cool. And what I like the most about talking to both of you is learning about how, some ways customer success can combine one-to-one communication and one-to-many communication. And just to kind of summarize the benefits of doing that, it addresses the worries of your customers. It helps you deliver personalized help, and helps your customers know that, you're really thinking about them. And it can also help you gain more visibility that you need internally. So, kind of just moving into some real life examples. I know at Livestorm, Elif, we have a few examples of some ways we've combined one-to-one and one-to-many communication. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think, just as I, talked a lot about our webinars and etc., I just thought that it would make sense to show how it actually looked like. So this is one of the training webinars that we offer to our premium customers. As you can see, from the registration page, again, this page is, embedded to our emailing campaign. So, to kind of keep that registrations coming in without doing that manual action, manual reach outs. And basically, in this webinar, people will know before actually signing up what they will be learning and what they should be expecting to get out of this webinar. So again, it really comes back to having, a clear outline and, setting clear expectations, just to, make sure that everyone, your customers and you are on the same page. As again, time is very valuable, and we just want to offer the most relevant content to them as much as possible. So that's our training webinar. If there are any, I don't know if there are any Livestorm customers currently attending, but just gonna put it out there. If you want to actually attend this, feel free to, send us a message, and happy to share the link with anyone. So that's the example that I can give. Arthur, maybe
on my side, thanks, Elif, for the perfect transition as always. I would say that at Front, you can see here on the screenshot, this is I would say daily example of what we can do with Front. So on the left, you can see a message list. This is basically all the new messages coming into the shared inbox. On the middle, you can see kind of the conversation pane with like the message, and you can see some comments. So this is a really great way with Front to get some help from your teammates, centralize all the context in one single place. And just to give you a quick example from my daily life, sometimes I receive a message from a customer. I need help from a technical expert on the product or from the support team. Instead of CCing people, BCC, forwarding, asking a question on Slack about this email, it's really not ideal. You can just mention your colleague in the email context. And as you can see also on the screenshot, you can even open third-party apps such as the calendar, such as Salesforce, and in this case, pull out the data, even like update the data if you need, create some opportunities, update the account information directly from Front. So it's really a time saver for your team, and also it benefits your customers because you have everything you need to provide the best answer as possible.
Thanks, guys. Both of those examples are really interesting, and I think maybe we have a bit of time to do some question and answers. I see it looks like we have some questions. So, how do we handle huge email backlogs, which are creating big complaints from customers during these situation? Arthur, I'll let you handle that one.
I guess this one is for me. Yeah, this is a great question, Manjit. Thanks for asking. So I would say that, I speak for what I know at Front. What we currently do, because we surely have lots of volume, especially in the support team. So basically, we rely on canned responses, just as I showed you, to kind of streamline the answers, like prepare some answers that we know we will definitely use, so that the support team can reply very quickly and keep this personal touch as well. And we also want to measure this. We want to measure this, and in Front, you can measure this with tags. So basically, you can, thanks to automated rules, you can say that, for instance, a COVID-related conversation is automatically tagged COVID because of a keyword, for instance. Then we have some analytics in which you can measure this. So you can understand what's the volume of conversation talking about COVID, and based on this data, of course, you can take some business decisions, maybe staffing the team, change the planning of the support team, find new ways to handle this conversation. So yeah, this is what I would answer in this case.
Great. And
I hope it was helpful.
It looks like, Elif, maybe you can redo the second one. It says some customers are upset with how companies are dealing with the situation. How can a company regain the trust of these customers when they've been disappointed? I don't know if you have maybe some tips on that, or.
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Fatima, thanks for asking it. So definitely, I think, it's not an easy situation to deal with. And I think, a lot of companies get this even more. So, I think it's just best to make sure that it's okay, and we can have this kind of situation happening. One piece of advice I can really give is to be very honest and straightforward with your customers. First of all, identify again their pain points. How did you disappoint them? Okay, and check internally what can you do to make it better. It's always good to let your customers know that you have understood the problem that they're dealing with, but also offer them some solutions to the best of your ability. So, for example, one example that I can give from us, if we ever get faced with a technical situation that's happening with our platform, we always reach out to our customers to let them know, for example, what caused that situation, what have we taken as a measure to control the situation, and what we will be implementing in the long term to prevent these issues from happening again. So again, being very straightforward and honest with your customers, letting them know why you maybe failed them, and just being very direct with them and telling them what you will be doing to make it better and do better. And I think it really comes down to the fact that customers really need to see the humane part of us, and if they really do get your intentions, and if they do understand your your genuine response, I'm sure that you will not have trouble regaining their trust in the long term. So yeah, that's kind of what I can say, really. Just honest communication, and yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but let me know in the chat or in the questions tab.
Yeah, definitely. Open communication and full transparency makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
So, once again, thank you guys so much for coming. You'll receive the replay in your email. And thank you to Elif and Arthur for joining me today and teaching me and others about customer communication during this complicated time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for coming, everyone. I hope it was useful.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.